Hello, good evening and welcome to the Primetime News coming to you on DBS Television from our Douala studio. I am Amadou Jallo Buba at the anchor. We open our newscast with this accident. Two heavy-duty trucks have collided at the Elf crossover this morning, but report says no one died in the course of the accident, but for minor material damages. Our reporter Nevanesha was there and now tells us more.
This is a sign indicating a situation, usually an accident, and yes, it is an accident. Here we are at the Elf flyover, where two heavy-duty trucks collided in the early hours of August 27. According to unconfirmed sources, one of the trucks loaded with logs of wood had parked by the corner. The images visually shows that the other truck tried to find its way through to no avail. The outcome is this. No human life is lost but for serious material damage. The truck, matriculed CETR 133AA, is bruised, cracked, scattered, leaving it handicapped to move. Planks and logs of wood were on the road, causing circulation of vehicles almost impossible. Though commercial motorbike riders used the tiny path to escape from the already existing traffic on that stretch of road. It is the second time a similar incident is taking place at the Elf crossover. The question remains thus: do crossovers now serve as parking stations or their original purpose?
Before that question will be answered by those concerned, now we take you to something else where the corpse of a security guard, simply identified as Amadou, has been discovered at the Oyenga market in the Bolova headquarters of the South region. The population alerted the forces of law and order who rushed to the scene, and an investigation has been opened to determine the exact date of the bodyguard. Details in the following report with a 10-minute NAM.
The lifeless body of a security guard was found in an uncompleted building in Oyanga Market in Ebolowa of the South region. The corpse, identified as Amadou, attracted the attention of the population. The market people alerted the firefighter brigade and the police officer who came for preliminary investigations. The deceased sister recounts the circumstances that led to the death of her brother.
There was a thief here last night. He alerted the population and they escaped, and I also left. When I came back, I found my brother lying on the floor. So I went back where I found two men standing and I asked them what they were looking for, and they said nothing. So I went to the house. On coming back from the market, they had stabbed my brother.
The headless body of Amadou was lying in the building, ready to be dispatched to his village. The DO of Beto 1 and other administrators of the market have opened investigation for the murder of the security guard. As part of investigation, a gendarmerie questioned the person who discovered the corpse. According to an eyewitness, he found the corpse lying in an uncompleted building, where he immediately alerted the population. He recognized him as a security guard in the market. That notwithstanding, the poor waste disposal in the market was also another burning issue. The pungent odor came from the abandoned refuse in the market, which may have been a comfortable area to display goods.
The government of Cameroon has taken all measures to ensure effective school resumptions comes Monday nationwide. This was revealed yesterday in a joint press conference in Yaoundé by the Minister of Communication and those of the education sector. Our reporter, Mangi Vernasius, throws more light on that press conference in the following report.
Education in every nation is one of the fundamental pillars of the society, as it is here that the future of the nation is molded. As such, it is the preoccupation of students, pupils, parents, as well as the state to ensure the effective takeoff of each school year. Thus was the objective of a joint press conference this Monday, August 26, 2019 in Yaoundé, presided at by the Minister of Communication, accompanied by those of Higher Education, Basic Education, and the Secretary of State at the Ministry of Secondary Education. Addressing media men and women, Minister René Emmanuel Sadi said government has taken measures to ensure that primary and secondary schools as well as universities resume in line with the school calendar in all 10 regions including the Northwest and Southwest regions, on Monday, 2nd September 2019.
Start of the new academic year is concerned is to take all the appropriate measures to make sure that appropriate conditions are met to allow our boys to go to school. Of course, we know it's not easy. We know that it is quite sensitive, but you can be sure that all the measures will be taken.
He used the occasion to outline the numerous atrocities caused by anti-school campaigners, including kidnappings, killings, rapes, burning down of schools, and other forms of psychological intimidation and manipulation. The minister called on international partners, while citing the Constitution of Cameroon, just like other conventions, to work with the government to ensure that the basic human rights of the children of the Northwest and Southwest regions are respected. By preventing students from going to school, he reiterated that it will tantamount to a breach of international conventions and laws in force.
Ahead of the start of the 2019-2020 academic year comes Monday, both parents and students and pupils are ready to get back to school. Tonight, Raidul Abia will be focusing this time around on the resumption of administrative teachers in the different schools.
It is true that every school year is expected to start from the end of the previous one. While it's so, Lycée de Brazzaville, like other institutions of learning, have been on their feet finalizing the preparations for the students to resume hitch-free. The classrooms are renovated, blackboards and benches cleaned for the reception of the students, the teachers themselves obtaining their worksheets and other documents, above all the administrative resumption. With all of these and more in place, it tells that the schools are ready for the students come September 2019-2020.
Our school is very ready for the school reopening on the 2nd of September. From the time that the minister launched, from the 4th, we started with students started coming to pay their fees. And since then, we have been working relentlessly to make sure that things are in place before the 2nd. So as I was saying, we'll have all the books necessary.
Conscious that schools will have to start on the 2nd of September, registrations are still going on. Parents and students are making sure that they get their names on the list. And for those who did register earlier, they are verifying their names. While arrangements are being made for a hitch-free start, the school is also making provisions for the internally displaced students.
Our IDPs, internally displaced, especially the students, we will always reserve places for them. Yes, no matter what happens, anyone who comes will always embrace the students wholeheartedly.
From every indication, extra classes are under construction so as to accommodate the increasing number of students. School resumption come September is also for the primary section. At Groupe Scolaire d'Agnès, registrations are ongoing. Teaching staffs are preparing to welcome the pupils, mostly of the nursery section, working on school themes that starts from September.
We are trying to reproduce decorations for the beginning of the school year 2019-2020 because we are working according to the school theme, according to the project. So the project for the first month, which is September, it always deals on the school environment and things concerning the school. So as we are here right now, we are trying to see how we can do decorations like school bags, a school campus, chalk, ruler, and even tables. So those are the things we use in school, and we have to make the children to know that when we talk of school and school environment, it deals with all those things. So that's what we are trying to do now.
The classrooms are cleaned, the walls painted, and chairs arranged in order. In the economic capital Douala, everything seems set for the 2019-2020 academic year to kick off.
Most travel agencies and car parks in the city of Douala this late August are observed to be as marketplaces. This is due to the numerous journeys of holidaymakers in view of school resumptions comes Monday. Our reporter Cynthia Nguemo takes us to some travel agencies and parks here in the economic capital Douala.
Holidays have come and gone, and so are the holidaymakers returning to their various residences. After a couple of months spent out of their homes and schools, those who were settled in Douala are now returning home, while the visitors are living on board their respective buses.
Je rentre, c'est par rapport à la rentrée scolaire.
I am returning home because of school resumption. I have to go and register my child in school in Yaoundé.
Children, parents and guardians constitute the majority of the passengers this late August, considering that most are to resume school this September the 2nd. Most of them, dressed in their beautiful outfits and hairdos, played the role of bodyguards for their luggage. The excitement of returning home is also obvious on a good number of the holiday makers, despite the fatigue of the long journeys they undergo. Fatigue, of course, is one of the inevitable factors with journeys, one which in this case is made worse by overcrowding in travel agencies, leading to long and exhaustive hours of waiting for departure and even arrival at destination.
Au 18e voyage,
I am to take the 18th bus and they are still on the 14th, so I am still very far behind, and it bothered me because I thought I would wait for about an hour, but now I think it's at least 3 hours.
On a eu des jours pratiquement où on avait interrompu le trafic.
There are days when we did not even circulate because we have to spend 10 hours on a journey that normally takes 4 to 5 hours. It is not possible.
These put aside, every other requirement to offer safe and comfortable journeys to the passengers is set to be implemented by the travel agency managers.
Sensibiliser nos chauffeurs.
We sensitize our drivers to limit speed so as to be able to handle the steering in case of obstacles. We also have a GPS that follows our buses in case of excesses.
Whatever the case, parents, guardians and children must brave the traveling challenges a few days to the start of the 2019-2020 school year. The goal remains the timely return of the kids for school.
The ongoing crisis in the Northwest regions has caused the relocation of some 500 internally displaced persons to Ndawara village in Boyo division of the Northwest regions. This relocation has been facilitated by Alhaji Babadan Pullo. Details in the following report with Wamba Tansimirabel.
Blessed is the hand that giveth than the hand that taketh. The president of Baba Group, Alhaji Alaji Danpolo, is indeed a blessing to some internally displaced persons from different villages in the Northwest region. Baba Alaji Danpolo has provided housing facilities to these IDPs who were stranded and had nowhere to go in the midst of the ongoing confusion and saga in the Northwest region that has claimed thousands of lives.
So me, I don't run with my brother. Me, I get 20 people. 20 people, I get 3 women. So I don't run can enter from Dawara now. Alaji Baba, you don't build the house for me. You don't give me the house. I don't stay there. You don't help me for some small time for I have to job for it. I say only for your hands, all my family. You give me, help me find for you to job. I know the fear no nothing.
In addition, the philanthropist did not limit his goodwill gesture at this level. He has also thought it wise to teach his newfound family how to fish and not only to eat fish. Reason why one of his administrators at the Ndawara Tea Estate has told IDPs interested in working for a monthly salary to indicate and get to work.
Real and financial assistance of the proprietor of the place, Baba Amadou Danpolo. He has given them houses, built houses for them. Those with big families, they have been lodged in houses of 4 rooms and a parlor, 3 rooms and a parlor, 2 rooms, all depending on the number of persons the head of the family has brought in. Those who can work, who still have the strength to work, we try to give them employment so that they can at least at the month end earn something to continue. They pay nothing.
Fathers, mothers and children have not stopped thanking the kind-hearted Baba Alaji for his unconditional support at a time in need like this.
We don't bring things them the hell away. Give we chop, give we kind thing them. Build our house then give we. We don't throw our cow there, our good there, our farm there, all our houses there. We don't throw them for bush. We don't thank Alaji for this thing. Alaji we don't do it for.
These persons are happy, relaxed and say this is home away from home, given that they are at peace within the Ndawara confinement, covered with fresh air and green vegetation. More buildings are still under construction, which is indicative of the fact that Baba's arms are still open to receive IDPs from wherever, seeking solace, irrespective of their tribes and religious backgrounds.
Now we take you to Yaoundé, where the pedagogic activities for the 2019-2020 academic years for the Ministry of Secondary Education have been launched. The event that was presided at by the Secretary of State in the Ministry of Secondary Education in charge of normal education, Boniface Baula, was also an opportunity to give a pedagogic balance sheet of the 2018-2019 school year. Details in the following report with Afese Apong.
The solemn pedagogic resumption for the 2019-2020 school year in the Ministry of Secondary Education focused on 7 main points: the promotion of bilingualism within schools, reforms of the school calendar, education in an urgent situation, violence in the school milieu, and drawing a pedagogic balance sheet of the 2018-2019 school year. The event is placed under the theme for a pedagogic success in the Ministry of Secondary Education, a theme which highlights the strides taken by the ministry to ameliorate the quality of education through the competent-based approach.
Since many years in the Ministry of Secondary Education, we are talking about the competence-based approach. With competence-based approach, it pushes all the teachers to renew their lessons and especially renew how they teach the pedagogic methods of teaching. This will help all the students to have really competency in the different subjects.
Presiding over the opening of the 2-day event, the Secretary of State to the Ministry of Secondary Education in charge of normal education, Boniface Bayaula, emphasized on the place of pedagogy in the educational system. The pedagogy resumption comes barely 5 days to the start of the new school year, and the regional delegate of secondary education for the littoral, Guillaume Ejang, says it is an occasion to meet the administration in order to ensure a hitch-free 2019-2020 academic year.
It is a moment for us to take large instruction from the hierarchy so that as school resumes on Monday, in all the 10 regions of Cameroon, everything should be done so that schools start really, and that the pedagogic reform that have been scheduled by Professor Nalova Lyonga takes place in every school as far as possible.
Through the various workshops, the participants will be drilled on the various reforms aimed at ameliorating the results of candidates in official exams.
At the level of the calendar, there are some elements that are new, because formerly we're talking about didactic sequences. Now we talk about terms. So we help the teachers to have more time to teach, more time to follow learnings, and then to put students in condition to do their exams at the end of the year in good condition.
The expected take-home message from this 2 days event is the need for improvements in order to achieve better results.
Project Management Institute Cameroon chapter has organized an interactive national conference to sensitize the population on the benefits of project management. The conference, which took place in Yaoundé, brought together parastatals of both public and private sectors, as we hear in the following report with Evelyn Mituge.
Holding under the theme Project Management Office as a catalyst for organizational transformation, this conference, organized by Project Management Institute Cameroon chapter, is geared towards sensitizing participants with insights and inspirations for better approaches that can transform an organization. On the table, some of the country's most fascinating speakers with excellent mastery of the subject matter, deep thinkers and entrepreneurs who have made the impossible possible, took turns to share experiences, and the results were eminent.
The different strategies we've learned here on how to manage the projects, the different methods you could handle, and the way you need to handle maybe your team is also very important. Details were not given, but it laid the bed for us to be able to evolve in the future. That we will not have bosses, but we will have leaders that will be able to bring up to boost the team, to boost the morale, and make sure our projects are implemented in the right way.
Project Management Office is a product of Project Management Institute, PMI, a United States-based organization whose main objective is to promote project management best practices. At the end of the conference, even though still very new, most participants are of the opinion that regardless of the several challenges, PMO is an indispensable tool for the country's 2035 emergency plan.
Project Management Officer is very, very useful to IT company, but to other company. There are three things that lead to the changement. The innovation, there are new technology, there are new solutions. If you don't use that new solutions, the competition will use it and you will just fall. You go to disruption.
As for Olive Ada Boume, president of the Project Management Institute Cameroon chapter, the turnout wasn't satisfactory. But given the importance of the PMO, she hopes for a better representation during the PMI Africa conferences scheduled to take place this September in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Muslim faithfuls from the three northern regions returning from pilgrimage have been received at the Garoua International Airport by the North Regional Governor Jean Abate Edi with family members and loved ones. Mange Vernasius, completing this story in the following report, says they have carried out a huge free journey to Saudi Arabia and back. Let's take a watch.
On board the Ethiopian Airlines, these 2,000 pilgrims arriving the Garoua International Airport last Monday evening after successfully carrying out their religious obligation. For more than 10 days, among other things, they prayed for peace to reign in Cameroon. This, they say, is fundamental for the well-being of every Cameroonian. They confirmed that they have carried out a hitch-free pilgrimage. This is thanks to the high-level organization ensured by the organizing committee and the government of Cameroon. And so they feel complete as they reunite with their families and loved ones back home. On hand to welcome them was the governor of the North Region, Jean Abate Edi, who expressed his satisfaction having these Muslims come back in one piece.
We are very impressed to know that our pilgrims are in the Garoua International Airport. When they have come back at home during this an important moment, we wish them welcome back.
Just like he did when they were leaving, the governor added that besides their spiritual benefit, these pilgrims had gone with the intention of the entire country, which is praying for peace and stability. It was a happy crowd of friends and family members who turned out to give them a befitting welcome.
From Garoua in the North Region, now we will be taking you for what is making news out of the national frontiers. Kenya has come out as the first country in Africa to program identification of people with intersex. This year's population census will take into account intersex persons and henceforth classify them as female or males. We'll go to VOA Africa 54 for more details on that story.
34-year-old Kwamboka Kibagendi identifies himself as an intersex person. Kibagendi was brought up as a female. Growing up, he associated himself with men. Despite accepting his gender, he wears unisex clothes he does not dare wear in his own neighborhood. Starting Saturday night, the government will devote a full week to counting the population. Kibagendi has voiced excitement about this year's population count.
When I heard that people of intersex will be included in this year's census, I was so delighted. A small survey was done, but didn't establish how many people are intersex, because people are afraid to come out. Now, since it's a government initiative, it will be easy, even for parents to bring their intersex child out for the count. It's a plus for people like us. I am so happy.
Intersex people have reproductive organs, genitals and hormones that do not fit the usual female and male features. With this census, the government wants to ascertain their numbers for planning purposes.
We've been categorizing as male-female, but we realize that we've been leaving them out. We need to plan for them. We need to have schools that are, have their interest at heart. So we need to know how many there are, so that if anything is going to be planned for, we have something that is particular for that particular group of individuals.
Some intersex people like Judith Baraza, who lives in Western Kenya, fear sharing her gender with government officials will expose her to more danger.
Si mbaya kwa watu wa intersex kuwa inclusive in that data, but shida ni kwamba
it's not bad to include intersex people, but many people in the community don't know much about intersex people. The area chief, sun chief, and those people don't know anything about intersex. Now my problem is, if you tell them I am an intersex person, obviously they'll go with the information and tell other people, and when you walk, you're at risk.
Despite getting some sort of acceptance, rights groups in the country have been encouraging intersex people to come out to be counted, but some have expressed fears of more violence and intimidation.
This will be a matter of disclosure, and when disclosure happens, the intersex person will feel at risk, will feel vulnerable, will feel the discrimination may be heightened at a certain point. So we are hoping that we have mechanisms I hope the state has mechanisms to deal with that situation.
The government maintains that citizens' personal information will be protected. Mohammed Yusuf for VA News, Nairobi.
Nigeria has taken a milestone in its fight against polio, and with that achievement, Africa can be declared polio-free by next year. We go back to VOA Africa 54 once more for an update of the story of polio from Nigeria.
It has been 3 years since Nigeria recorded a case of wild poliovirus. The last case was found in a child in Borno State in August 2016.
This press conference is to mark this significant milestone while ensuring that we do not lose sight of the huge amount of work that is left for us to do before we are certified polio-free by relevant global organizations.
Health officials say the 3-year milestone sets in motion a continent-wide process to ensure that all 47 countries of the World Health Organization's African region have eradicated the virus. Nigeria's progress in fighting the crippling viral disease could result in the entire continent being declared polio-free early next year. However, a UNICEF official says there are still hurdles to clear.
Let's remember that the battle is not over yet. We have to maintain our efforts and intensify them to make sure the historic gains are sustained and that polio-free certification is obtained for Nigeria in due time next year.
Polio is a viral infection that attacks the nervous system and can cause irreversible paralysis within hours. Children under 5 are the most vulnerable, but people can be fully protected with preventative vaccines. Wild polio remains endemic in Afghanistan and Pakistan, but case numbers worldwide have been largely reduced. Observers say the reduction is due to intense national and regional immunization for babies and children.
It is with that good news there from Nigeria against polio that we draw the curtain for tonight's newscast. But more news will be coming up at 9 p.m. this time around in the French language with Fatima Rich Ewane. We hope to be in your company when it will be 8 p.m. tomorrow, God's willing. Goodbye.